Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Nerds and Words. My name is Tim Allen 1337. I'll be your host today. Along with me, as always, Potion Shop TV.
Hey, what's up?
And Moreland TV.
Hello.
And we are currently, and possibly for the near future, going to be a 3-man podcast. We all took a vote. We had straws, and Joe took the short one. We tried as hard as we could to give it to Potion Shop, but somehow he finagled his way out of there. But seriously, Joe Never Fails has, and we can all talk about this, we need to start with it, I suppose, has taken a job. He is training for this job for the next 2 weeks, and on his social media, and I think throughout his stream, he's talked about how he is walking away from full-time streaming, and so that does include the Nerds and Words podcast. So I wish him nothing but the best in his endeavors and hope that his training goes well and that he finds whatever it is he's looking for. But we are currently a 3-man podcast. We have no idea if we want to continue as 3 or find a 4th or what's going to happen. So don't fucking ask us. But how you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I've got back in my rhythm of streaming a lot of Destiny. I'm hoping to transition that back into Black Desert Online. A lot of people have been asking me, hey, have you quit Black Desert? No, I haven't quit Black Desert, but I actually bought a Tech Crescent Ring again this week, so that's my Black Desert progress for the week.
Wait, how much? Bought one this week?
Yeah.
Bro, they're crashing in 15 days. Why'd you buy one this week?
It's okay, I don't care. I can make that money in like half a day.
You keep saying that.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. When I come back, I'm going to make like over 10 billion silver in a week and buy a Toe Ogre. It's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Do you want to buy my Ruins ring? I'm probably going to sell it.
I already bought my Tech Crescent.
Yeah, but this one has it's like a crescent with HP on it.
What? A ring that has HP on it also?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty strong, actually. No.
Are you guys about to have sex? What is this? Is this a sex thing?
Why are you so prying into our personal lives?
Marriage.
Saving yourself for marriage. I respect that.
Anyways,
how was your week, Moreland? Since Potion Shops, you did a bunch of hold on. You did a bunch of Destiny shit, didn't you, Potion?
I have
Talk
been
about
doing
that for a second.
I've been doing a lot of Destiny stuff. They have a new update coming out in September, and I'm basically prepping my entire account for that September update. I'm trying to get everything min-maxed to the nth degree, and really knocking that out. I made my first Destiny video on YouTube, and that is up to 30,000 views now. So I'm pretty excited that actually has done so well for my first Destiny video. It's very encouraging for me to continue doing that. Right now, it's trying to find a balance between how do I want to go back and forth between Destiny and Black Desert? Because obviously the majority of my community is at Black Desert, and that's my home.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about
on that video.
30,000.
This is pretty good for your first video, dude.
Okay, well, let me explain this a little bit because I've been playing Destiny 2 as well because I want to join him for these day one raids. There's this thing. I've watched his video 3 times and I still can't fucking figure out how to unlock the thing that his video is about. And so it's this overcomplicated thing. And he made a goddamn 10-minute video out of it so he can get as many ads in APM or whatever the fuck that's called. And so he's just milking the shit out of this super overcomplicated thing. And like, I can't
figure like the blade of Destiny 2.
So I really only had like 100,000 viewers. Right? I mean, 10,000 viewers, but they've watched it like 3 to 6 times a piece. So it's really working out great right now.
I have to watch it again to figure out what the fuck I'm missing.
I'll help you out offline sometime with it. It's you're probably just missing like one little small thing. I'll help you out.
He'll make another video that explains what you didn't get from the first video.
That's what I should do. I should make it. And then in the second video, I should reference the first video.
And you should make like a toxic title in the beginning of it. If you were too stupid in the first one, you need to watch this. Or video 2, dumbed down or something like that. Emotional. I don't know how to YouTube.
Gone sexual. No, that doesn't work on YouTube anymore.
What? Consexual?
When you just put gone sexual at the end of all your YouTube titles and you get like 20 times more views.
Oh,
Yeah. So it'll be like, how to change your car's oil, and then in parentheses, gone sexual.
is that what you? Never mind.
Chat knows what I'm talking about.
How was your week, Moreland? I guess
My
2
week
weeks.
was fantastic.
It's been 2 weeks since we've been gotten together, so a lot's happened in these
Yep.
past 2 weeks.
I saw some fireworks. I've been playing lots more Ultima Online, and I joined an RP guild. So there's like 6 or 7 role playing guilds on this UO server, and a bunch of them will like dress up as orcs and misspell shit and go around behaving orcishly. It's very, very lit.
Can you give us an example of behaving orcishly?
Well, like I said, they misspell stuff. They ask you for tribute if you come into their lands. They'll run up to you and they'll say tribute. They'll misspell the word tribute, of course, and you have to put gold on the ground, or else they will attack you and chase you off. But they usually chase you around on foot. They don't use mounts, so it's very easy to escape from them if they do attack you. But yeah, if you just drop like 10 gold on the ground, then they let you pass through their lands.
How are we
One
all
of them-
single?
I found a friendly orc though, and he walked up to me and he said, "Grub for Humie," and he handed me a turnip.
The RP value on that just blew my mind.
Yep, and I ate the turnip and we became friends.
I really thought we'd make it to at least episode 10.
I think my next YouTube video is going to be me RPing with a bunch of orcs.
God, I'm gonna love watching that, and I'm gonna hate that I love watching it. Anything else?
And the guild I joined is a bunch of like backwoods hicks. So all we do is get drunk and
I'll drink to that.
act
Apparently,
like we're idiots. So it's pretty easy.
sounds like I qualify. You do anything in BDO this past 2 weeks? You still doing that T1 Node War guild, right?
I made another
No?
Black Star. Yeah, T1 Node Wars has been going really well. We had one war where we just got Eiffel Towered super hard and couldn't leave the base. But other than that, yeah, we've had some pretty crazy fights. We had a 3v1 yesterday where we lasted 51 minutes against 3 guilds. So that was pretty insane. We were pretty much surrounded the whole time. We still held out for almost an hour. Yeah, T1s are really good.
Am I just being super stubborn by not participating in this?
It's the best PvP
It's
in BDO.
Yeah, it's the best PvP that I've had in a long time. It reminds me of how like old, like early days PvP in the game felt before everything was just giant balls of PA. Yeah, because there's a lot more like skirmishing and people are more spread out. It's not nobody's cycling PA because it doesn't work. So like when you push a ball, your abilities actually go off, but also the time to kill is a little bit slower. So like you're not getting one shots. A lot of times if you get caught, there has to be 2 people on somebody who's CC'd to kill them. It's actually kind of hard to kill somebody in one combo unless you like do everything perfectly or get a down smash or something. So yeah, it's pretty fun, man.
So for me, the past 2 weeks have been eventful, as they normally are. I guess my life's been rather eventful. I had to take a little break from streaming. I moved rooms. I had a free room and bathroom in my house that I was possibly saving, and then something happened, and I decided to move my stream setup in here. So also my internet took a shit, so now I have 2 internet lines coming into my house, which is pretty nice. My AC died, so I had to like move out of my house for a couple days. I bought my first Het distortion, and so now I'm 281 AP with Kudum on my Guardian, which is fucking insane.
Goddamn.
Yeah, so we were talking about my trash per hour at Stars End on the last podcast, I believe, Moreland. And
yeah, how you doing now?
4.5k at Stars End, cliff rotation, not even main. And then I'm doing the same at Sakraya main on stream, and I've only done Sakraya like 3 times, so I could probably get off stream. I could probably get pretty close to 5k, 4.7, 4.8, something like that. So
it's pretty good. You getting
My
those earrings?
my drop hold on. My drop rate at Star's End is 0.4 per hour. 0.4 per hour.
Yeah, that's about right. See, chat keeps telling me that I'm making these numbers up.
I think it's well above average. I think it's well above average.
Maybe.
But I'm pretty excited about it. I think it was like 0.28 or something the last time we got together. So I'm having fun with that grind sheet. But my new goals is to I don't know if this is toxic or opportunistic or whatever, but Joe was 305, 346 DP. So I'm going to get that gear score as soon as possible and then apply to Black Rose. That's my plan in game.
Black Rose, that's the plan, huh?
I just want to replace Joe. I just think it'd be funny. Walk up to Sasha and be like, "Hey, oi, Sash, heard you lost a 305 AP, 346 DP Guardian. Would you like to replace him?" Send him a screenshot of my gear. So the goal is to get the second Tet Disto faster than the first one. So I have to do it in under 3 weeks. And I'm on like day 2 or something. And then after that's Penduver. And then I'm going to replace my 3 accessories, belt and 2 rings with Tungrad accessories. And that'll be 305. And then just Kaffers my armor back up to whatever it is I need for 346.
So are you really going to join Black Rose? Or are you just memeing?
I don't know. I'm gonna get the gear first. I gotta get that gear first and then make a decision. Filter's already like flirting with me hard. They want me so bad.
You should join Filter.
They're dog shit. I'm dog shit. It just seems like a really good match, right?
I wish you could have characters in different guilds in this game like you can in other games. I would totally put an alt in Filter.
I don't know,
Maybe
man.
I guess I could merc. I could just merc into Filter.
That's honestly what I want to do. I hate that I can't just fucking settle in on a guild. So I don't really want to merc right now. I don't really want to PvP. I've got my nights free for the first time in almost 4 years. And my personal life has really enjoyed that. And so I'm either playing Destiny 2 or hanging out with the 1 or 2 friends that I've been seeing through quarantine. I'm in Florida, so coronavirus is like doubled. And will probably continue to do so, especially after 4th of July. So I'm trying to just stick to my 1 or 2 friends that I know are nerds and stick together. So
Florida
you
man's
got to take their temperature every time you hang out.
Florida man's
I have one of those.
I don't care about no virus.
Oh man, you guys ever watch All Gas No Brakes?
No, what's it about?
Oh my fucking god! So it's this like 20-year-old kid, and he looks like he's 16, and he wears this suit that looks like it's from his dad, like his dad gave it to him. And he goes to the craziest parts of America, like all these weird conventions, like the AVN, the porn convention. He goes to Burning Man, and he just finds the most drunk and fucked up people and interviews them. And so he went to like Belle Glade, Florida, or just like Arcadia, Florida, or something like that. He did a Florida episode where he found some guy with no teeth that got into some like really big beef with a guy who tattooed his face and body to look like Joker from Batman. And they have this like gang war that's not a gang. It's just like the most Florida thing in the world. But shout out to All Gas No Brakes. If you guys haven't checked that out on YouTube or Instagram, he's a legend. He's a fucking legend. And that gives you a good snapshot of what Florida's like. Anyway, I digressed. Sorry already. Joe would be so mad.
Yeah, like 80-something% of the news articles I read are about Florida, so I can imagine what it's like.
It's wild down here. People are used to going out and getting their crazy out, and now they're all kind of stuffed in and, you know, wearing masks and not getting other people. A pandemic virus has turned political, especially here. So, you know, it's their right to kill people, I guess. But I don't want to get into that. Sorry.
Too late.
This is the part where Potion Shop takes over and we talk about video games.
I just wanted to prove to everybody that me not jumping in and stopping you guys was a bad thing, all right?
No, it wasn't. It was good. Thank you for letting me get that out.
All right, let's jump into it. I appreciate you guys talking about your weeks, and I will try better not to cut you guys off. Let's see. So Joe's left the podcast, right? I think we should get that out of the way. You know, get maybe personal thoughts on that. Do you want to go with that, or do you want to go straight into Black Desert?
Uh, I don't think there's a reason to really talk about it. He said what he said. He put it on his socials. He did a couple of farewell streams and stuff like that. It seems to me that it's fairly final. Him and I obviously had a personal conversation. That's nothing I'm going to put out on the internet.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But
yeah, I think I'm gonna miss him. I think he brought a lot of dynamics to the podcast, right? Especially with averages, really made things less random, or maybe more random, depending on how you want to look at it. So he will.
I think maybe just to make one personal note, if I can. Joe has had a interesting career within BDO, and this was the first time that he had collaborated with anybody else in the directory. And since he moved to Florida, he was relaxed. He was more open with his community, and I sincerely started enjoying him as a person and his content way more. And as much as I hope the best for him and his new endeavor, I was really, really, really excited to see Joe kind of really find some potential. And he's a really creative guy. I don't know if that ever really comes out. And I'm going to dox him a little bit here. He's a very creative guy. He's an idea man, as much as that may not come out on his day-to-day streams. And we had some notes on some things that we were going to do, and they were excellent. And I wish we could have seen that come to fruition, because I think it would have shaken things up in the BDO Twitch directory, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. And it would have been really fun to see him live to his real content creation potential. So I hope he comes back, but more than selfishly, I hope that, but more so, I hope he's happy with his decision.
Yeah, he's been at it for a long time, right? I mean, he might have even been streamed. I think he's been streaming longer than any of us.
6
Not
years.
necessarily in BDO, but yeah, in other games too. So I could imagine why he would want to do something different. I wonder if, maybe he'll still stream part-time or something. So we might still see him around. But yeah, wish him the best.
Absolutely. So our first BDO topic is the Hashashin Class has been they gave us a teaser for it, and then it released in KR, and then it's also pre-creation on Xbox, and that all happened because in like the span of 2 weeks. So we did miss last week for people who are listening, because it was 4th of July. We decided to take that off. That had nothing to do with Joe. Just happened to relate that way. So I basically, a lot of things that happened with the Hashashin Class. If I'm saying it right, am I saying it right? Is that the correct way of saying it?
Sheen.
Hashashin. So that's out, and you can now play it on
Just
the Global
call it
Lab
Tornado
server.
Ninja.
You can now play the Tornado Ninja. What are you guys' thoughts on it? What have you guys seen the trailer? What are you thinking? Are you trying to save teasers too much until it comes out? What are your thoughts?
Well, if I may, if you go back to previous episodes, what was the one thing I really didn't want it to be? Iframes. Another ninja, more iframes. I didn't want more iframes. And so I've seen these clips of it outrunning every single class. It's been reported that it has 3 block jumps, all this crazy shit, and we haven't even seen the awakening. And maybe this is a succession-based class where like the meat and potatoes comes from the main hand. I'd be surprised. I don't know. It's possible, but I was hoping for no iframes. I had a creeping suspicion that it was going to be. It is. It seems like it's relatively medium APM. I've been watching Blue play it. Seems crazy. It's a very different class, which is something I like. I do like that. But man, I really didn't want more iframes. Desync in this game, I'm not a salty bitch, right? It's just that I am. But it's just that iframes in a game that has like, yeah, okay, all right, I see. Don't snicker at that. Iframes in a game that is just so riddled with desync just is not fun. And I wish that maybe the class was a little more in tune with the performance of the game, at a server level. But here we go with more iframes.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe it has some openings. Maybe some of its animation, it has some longer animations where you're supposed to grab it or something. But yeah, another iframe spamming class. I mean, Sorks are already just so not fun to fight against in this game. And, to a lesser extent, so were some of the other short sword classes. But I don't know. The new class, I think it's cool or whatever. I'm kind of ambivalent towards it. I don't really feel anything super positive or super negative. It looks kind of cool. It looks kind of interesting, and that's about where it ends for me. I wish that they would actually come out with classes that are a little more unique. Maybe like playable Rudum or a playable Dwarf, or the whole like Otter Papu thing. I think an actual Otter class where you like are smacking people with a fishing rod and juking around and actually have a kit that you can use that's viable instead of whatever weird thing they came up with. I don't know. I think stuff like that could be interesting, or they could go the route of making like a necromancer or a warlock class, like something that has new mechanics that's not just super armor, AoE super armor like every other class, like something that's a little bit outside the box. We have 18, 19, almost 20 classes in this game now. I'm starting to lose track.
Hashashin is 19, is that right?
Yeah, and like almost all of them are more or less the same. Shy is really the only class that's kind of unique, I guess, to some extent. Like you have Archer and Ranger that can do things from distance that other classes can't really do. But it's just the actual difference between how classes play in this game is, it varies here and there, but there's not a lot of classes that are fundamentally different in like a really basic way or like a really extreme way. And so I would like to see some of these new classes be a little bit more outside the box. And I know that's a risk to take, but I mean, we've got 19 other classes to fall back on now, so I feel like they can afford to take some risks with what comes next.
Absolutely. I'm one of the things I've noticed about the classes. It seems like all of its not primary abilities, but secondary abilities are like copied from other classes. There's a few abilities that look like DK, a few that are like ninja.
That happens with every new release, though. I mean, even if you look at Guardian skills, a lot of the Guardian skills are just reskinned versions of abilities from other classes.
And I guess that's what I'm saying is it kind of lends that feeling of it being not new, on top of it not being, it's the same DPS super armor type thing, right?
Are we a little too close to the trees to see the forest here? What other game has 19 classes? Let's understand that Witch and Wizard, they found different. Does EverQuest have that many?
It had 13 or 14 in Classic, and they were all they weren't all super unique, but like 10 of them were. Like there was some overlap. There were some hybrid classes that had a lot in common, but most of the classes in that game were played pretty damn differently.
I think we had enough like 5 classes ago.
Yeah, I'm not really
I think this
looking
is
for new classes.
I think this is the wrong focus for content here.
Yeah,
honestly.
I agree. That's why if they are going to make new classes, I would rather than do something like not like Shy, but like Shy in the sense that it's way different from everything else. It's not just another DPS class that has kind of a slightly different version of super armors and dodges and AoEs.
And we've seen them get excited about stepping outside the box, as haphazard as Shy may be, right? They were trying to get outside the box, but they also kept it in the box at the same time. It's kind of an in the box class, and they're trying to bring it out of the box. I'm taking the metaphor too far, but I agree with you. I just, every time we talk about new classes, all I hear is necromancer. And that would be the outside of the box type of betterment out of a class, but that's literally the last thing I want to see is another fucking new class.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think on one extreme we have new classes, which just feels like we're running the same content all over again, right, from scratch. And then you have the other extreme, which is Papu vs. Crew Island, which is so far from what we enjoy in BDO that and I'm looking for like happy middle ground where it's similar to the existing content, but a new flavor or something, something that, like, I think like Trees was really interesting when they revamped that, because it was the first grind spot where you had a 3-man party grind spot where you had this totem like thing spawning creatures, right? That brought something new to the game. It was similar flavor. I'm still killing monsters, but it was something new, right? And I think that's why I want to see more of, is that kind of stuff. Anyway, I don't think a new class is bad, right? It's just of things that it can be focusing on, there's other things that would probably be more interesting than a class at this point, especially when we had Guardian it feels like just a little while ago.
Yeah, it seems like it was just how far long ago that Joe was like just racing to 63 to beat people for that contest that he never got a reward for. But it seems like it was just 6 months ago or something, and that's a
it's
heavy
about
pace.
every 6 months that we have a new class. I mean, the game only released with like 8 or 10 classes, right? And it's been 2 classes a year since then.
Now, I think
What if they made
interesting-
like Musa viable? You know, what if they paid attention to some of these classes that are kind of falling out of this meta outside of just adjusting? I think Musa, I was talking about this earlier today. And maybe I don't know enough about Musa, but I think Musa needs a complete overhaul. I don't know if it's viable at all.
Succession Musa was supposed to be the tornado class. It's just kind of mediocre. They gave the tornadoes to the new guy instead.
You know, that's not wrong.
A lot of companies are pretty guilty of this, you know, kind of the mentality of leaping over dollars to pick up pennies, right? Where there's so much right in front of them. There's so much low hanging fruit. I use that term on this podcast a lot. And I would really applaud them. You know, they're out in Mars where they really just need to look what's right in front of them and pay some attention to that. But, you know, Hashashin, I'm sorry, I hijacked this a little bit. Hashashin looks interesting enough to be different. There's a lot of new mechanics within that kit with the tornadoes going around. I guess he can sprint infinitely within the desert. A lot of iframes, a ton of mobility. As far as tankiness and stuff like that, I'm certainly not the person to ask or speak to it, but I'm sure it'll get tuned and tested and tweaked and all that kind of stuff through the coming times. But the only thing I've been thinking when I've seen all this content is why? Like almost literally anything else. At the risk of just being a complainer, a lot of people are excited about it, and new classes do really well for the population of the game. So I'm trying to stay positive on this.
It is. They bring people back.
Now, quick question to you guys. There's something new about this class that's a unique situation to this class we haven't had in a very long time in BDO. We no longer have weapon exchange coupons in the store when this comes out. And the ones you could have bought are going to be expired by then, I think is the catch there, right?
I don't think they expire.
No, they don't expire.
They don't expire? So,
no, not anymore.
For people who don't have one already bought, right, you can't buy one anymore unless I'm mistaken.
We cannot buy them anymore. They went out a week or two ago.
So the kind of idea that I'm wondering now is how much of an impact are we going to see on the marketplace compared to previous classes, right? Are we going to see... We're not going to see major price jumps or anything like that anymore, right?
Well, if they keep so in the original version of the markets, the weapons for each class had different prices. And then once the exchange coupons came out, they saw people buying cheap weapons for a dead class and then reselling them at max price for a popular class. And so they made it so that the weapon prices were the same across class. Now that we don't have the weapon exchange coupons, logically, the weapons should go back to having their own individual prices. If they don't do that, what's going to happen is there's going to be so many max price orders on Hashashin weapons that it's actually going to artificially drive the price of other classes' weapons up. So we'll see.
I think there's going to be a ton of Black Star amulets and short swords on the market very soon.
It's an interesting idea. I already bought my my boss weapons for that. I want to make a Black Star for the Hashashin.
Does he use new weapons in every slot?
Yes.
We don't know about his awakening, but assuming his awakening also, then yeah, all three would be new.
Every class has a unique awakening. I don't see why this one would be different.
Wouldn't that be
Which is also
though?
something different, right?
Yeah. What if they made the same?
I don't think we have any idea what the awakening looks like. Do we?
I don't think so.
No even allusion to it. So yeah, just pull out a guardian halberd or something. Anyway, I think the marketplace implications will be really interesting. Quite frankly, I think there's going to be a lot of iframe classes re-rolling. I think DKs are going to be happy. I think DKs are going to sit because of all the adjustments, and that's something else I hope we get to talk about how all these big class adjustments have panned out for.
That's actually the next topic.
They did say that there's going to be a non-cash shop way to get weapon coupons. Have we learned anything more about that? Because maybe that'll be something that happens in a couple months, and people will use that on the new class.
Yeah, I don't think they've said anything about that. Maybe something on KR that hasn't been put on NA and EU yet. But we do have the Shakutu
end of
seals,
season
right?
2. It's the end of season 2. That's right, Chad. Thank you. End of season 2 rewards is going to be coupons officially. That was an official statement.
That's part of like the season pass.
Apparently.
Season 2 though?
Okay, so season 2 mandatory. Got it. I hope that do I have to do the main quest again for season 2?
Yes, absolutely.
Calpheon quests have never been more lit.
Why don't they just make the seasons fun? It's so,
If you
it's
thought
so easy to
season
make
one
them fun.
If you thought season 1 Calpheon was great, just wait till season 2 Calpheon quests. The CP was cut in half. It's even more grueling.
Now
I'm starting to change my mind about piloting in this game.
So you brought us into the next topic pretty well there. While we were away, they released all the class balancing stuff. So how are people feeling on that? I haven't really played enough to really have my 2 cents on that. I don't really know how classes feel in PvP right now.
DK's one-shot me. Literally one-shot me. Kudum, 354 DP. 290 AP. DK walked up to me and asked me if I was wearing gathering clothes. Like, it was just... Whoa! I get hit hard, but...
They deserve it. They earned it.
I know. Everybody's like, oh, Guardian got nerfed. And it's like, yeah, a little bit, but I also still like hyper clap people. So for me, in my little situation, I think that overall it was a really good stab at balance. I think it was a really good stab at balance.
I actually agree. I don't know if it was good on purpose. It kind of felt like they were just, throwing darts at a board, but I feel like it worked out pretty well. I've been hearing a lot of berserkers complaining, which is a good sign.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
But it's hard for me to feel it in T1s though. So I feel like on paper, Guardian looks like it got nerfed a lot harder than I'm actually experiencing in the game. So are you guys feeling that in regular Node Wars, or do you think that's a weird T1 thing? Because I'm trying to figure out if the class caps happen or if the class multipliers happen before or after the T1 caps. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not. The Guardians still feel way too tanky in T1s, even though they're supposedly supposed to take like a bunch more damage from all these different classes. So I don't. Maybe it's just because of my particular matchup, but I don't know. Some of these classes that looked on paper like they got nerfed, it didn't actually seem like they got nerfed that badly.
I feel the damage to them taking in way more. So I've only been open world PvPing, just at like Stars Inn and stuff, and a couple of duel for spots, etc., on and off stream. In general, and again, I played Guardian for about a week or two before these massive changes happen. I definitely feel the squish, but it just reinforces that I need to use my block and position better. But I mean, I'm a Guardian. I've always clapped people super hard, and it's not really that like Joe left and that I want to get the 305, 346. It's that I think if I have that amount of gear, it's literally not going to matter on Guardian, because they did buff us against everybody except for I think Archer and Ranger or something like that, and they're already so squishy it doesn't matter. So for me, the class balances as a Guardian has inspired me to gear the fuck up and then just dominate people with a shift Q and laugh at them at their impotence. So that's what I'm doing. But overall, like when the fights that I have are more interesting. I have to respect classes that I didn't previously respect. Even at my 650, 660 gear score or whatever, I kind of take everybody as a little more seriously of a threat, or just really crutch my frontal guard.
Yeah, Guardian versus DK before this was you probably just held down your buttons, right? Because they couldn't grab you.
It's a joke.
But now you have to actually pay attention.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting. So overall, it seems like it's a step in the right direction for the game balance you guys are thinking.
I'm surprised. I didn't know if this was a Darkboard or Rain Man, but I think we're on the Rain Man side of this.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty good.
I mean, I think that anything that's going to shrink the multipliers that classes have against other classes is going to make the game better, right? Because that's a band-aid way of balancing anyways. That we never should have had a class doing 70% damage against one target and 120% damage against another target. That shit's crazy. It's unintuitive. It doesn't make sense. It's confusing. And it makes other parts of the game convoluted too, like trying to figure out which armor you should use. It's way too complicated and unintuitive. So anything that shrinks the effect of that, which for the most part is what this patch did, with a couple exceptions, I think is going to make the game feel better. Even if there's like damage increases that gets piled on top of that, at least we're more or less hitting people for the same amount, depending on like across what class you're fighting.
So now, it feels like you know, when they bounce, maybe they should bounce the multiplier numbers instead of the actual classes because they're more balanced across the board at the like behind the scene level. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, so we already have different hidden stats in terms of damage reduction and evasion for these classes.
Mhm.
And there were certain fights that I had before this where, like, particularly the Sork and Ninja come to mind, where I just wouldn't do nearly as much damage to those classes as I felt like I should have. And I always assumed it was because they had high amounts of evasion. And then lo and behold, it's like, oh no, there's this secret multiplier where you're losing 20% of your damage against those classes, and you just don't know it. It was invisible this whole time.
Yeah.
So, I'm over here like trying to get more accuracy or something, and that's not even the problem. The problem is that literally Warrior versus Sork was just a nerfed matchup, and now it's unnerfed. So it makes the game more understandable, and it allows me to at least make somewhat better decisions when it comes to my progression. I mean, I think the whole DR versus evasion thing and AP versus accuracy is still, for the most part, just a noob trap, and it's still really unbalanced. But at least the game is starting to make more sense now in terms of like how much damage I'm doing and this crazy variability that I see from person to person.
So to that end, I think it was last podcast, it was episode 7 or 6, where I brought up that, and I want to re-bring this up, is there's so much bloat, and we've talked about bloat in this game and how convoluted and complicated it is. What if we just hit our inventory? And where you go over view set effect, view equip crystal effect, all that kind of stuff. What if there was a view PvP and you just had a little chart where you're a guardian, this is the damage you take from this class, this is the damage you give to that class, to give some more transparency and consistency and understanding to all these new players that they're bringing in, and go, hey, so this guy doesn't outgear you. This is part of the rock, paper, scissors. If there's anything that this company should have learned through all the kind of different things that have happened with people being outraged and hidden stats being leaked and all that kind of stuff, is transparency is what the community wants and is good for new players, because there's so many hidden things and they change so often that, and again, another conversation that we had, content creators can't even keep up with it to provide updated, interesting content and guides for people to stay up to date on this at anywhere near a casual level. So I want that to be a third box at the bottom of the equipment menu, is show PvP, whatever the terminology for it is, and just simplify the numbers a little bit and tweak it to
I would love more transparency. I would also love for them to just get rid of class modifiers. I don't know why the game needs them. Do you guys think there's actually a reason why like a ninja should do more damage against class A and less damage against class B?
So this is my thoughts on it. If you look at your skill abilities, you have multiplications on them, right? It says X ability does 1,000% damage, or 1,500% damage, or 800% damage, whatever it is, right? And I think what they did is, when you look at the very bottom, it says this ability is reduced damage in PvP for most of them. And I think what that means is they went through and that says, all right, these abilities have those. I want to know what that is. That's what I mean, right? Those that say PvP, I'm with you, Tim. I want to see a little box I can check or click on, and I see all PvP values instead of PvE values. And then I can actually judge, okay, wow, this ability is 50% weaker in PvP. Totally makes sense why it's been garbage this entire time, right? It says 1,500% over here, but over here it says 750. And
yeah, and that's actually getting even worse, because like with right now on Succession Warrior, you have a choice between using the absolute ground smash or the prime ground smash, and they keep nerfing the Succession one and buffing the absolute one, but they don't change the numbers on the screen, because some of these nerfs were overall damage, but some of them were the hidden PvP multiplier. So I'm looking at the numbers now, and it's like, okay, well, the Succession one has 15% more damage on paper, but they just said in the patch notes that they nerfed it. So is it 15% more damage then minus 40% after that? Like, which one actually does? Do I have to fucking log on to test server and like run my own like half-hour test against a friend to figure out which skill I should use? Just put the tooltip in the game and let me get back to playing. I don't know why they're so obsessed with keeping everything so confusing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Let's talk about adding damage numbers into the game, at least in Battle Arena. It doesn't have to be in game, but at least in Battle Arena or test server or whatever the case is.
I think they don't want
it
to
doesn't
get
matter
feel
if
sweaty.
They have damage numbers on test server, but I mean, it's like Yeah, it would be nice
We
if
need a
if you
live.
could put
We
them
need
in
a
battle
live.
arena. Yeah, if there was a dummy you could hit in town or something, like there would
Yeah.
be every other game has something like that. It would
Because
definitely
then
save us a lot of headache.
then they can keep this fuckery, right? And it almost wouldn't matter if we had damage numbers. It just wouldn't matter. Okay, well, they changed this and they changed that. Cool. Walk up to the Sork dummy and hit it with your thing, or, and it has this gear, or, if you're in this part of the battle arena, damage numbers show up. But this entire secrecy thing, the community just has to pine so hard for it to be peeled back. And it's an eventuality that they're just resisting for literally no good reason. So I think that's the lowest hanging fruit possible. It's already a mechanic. It's in the game. Give us a live version of it.
They have some reason why they don't put that in, right? And I want to hear what that reason is. If that is some 5-head reason why they don't want to have damage numbers
It's not a 5-head reason. They've literally said they've answered this. There's been Q&As in the past where people have said, "Why don't you show hidden stats? Why don't we have damage numbers?" Every time a version of that question gets asked, their answer is something along the lines of, "We don't want people focusing on numbers. We want them to just feel." I'm not making that up. Like someone in chat can post.
Okay.
Like I'm not even paraphrasing.
I know.
Much,
I remember.
That's literally their answers. Like we want
That's
people to just feel it out.
Mind-boggling.
So
honestly.
just go grind for 2 years, and then see how that feels, and then change to other gear 2 years later, and then see how that feels, and then after 4 years you'll be able to figure out which build you want to run.
I hope they bring me to Korea so I can tell Jay how it fucking feels, man.
All right, so
feels like shit, dude.
To boil it down,
give me the numbers.
Do you guys both agree that they should just completely remove this arbitrary behind-the-scenes system that, hey, you do more damage to this class and less damage to that class? Do you guys think? Can you both agree on that? I think that's good.
Mm-hmm. I don't. So my answer to that is ninja is a really good thing to look at, right? So I hate stealth in just about every single game, but I think it's especially egregious in BDO. And so Serpent Strike is a really strong awakening. I think it's awakening. It's a really strong skill that Ninja uses. I'm not a Ninja player, sorry. And they open up with it very often. I think it has a float on it and air attack and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that Serpent Strike should do the same damage to Archer as it should Guardian. And there's different mechanics or Ranger even, is that if that hits the same, it's a one shot out of stealth. And it's awful. So I think there should be a little bit of it hits harder here, depending on how the matchup goes, and it hits a little, there's a little more forgiveness on this class that, goes to Siege with 3,700 HP or 3,500 HP or something like that. And you don't want to get Serpent Strike for 2,900 of it, or even your entire HP, unless you've got that AP level. So I understand why they have the class balancing, but I'm kind of with Moreland where they need to narrow it. And then somebody in chat made a really good point where if they narrow it or get it closer to 1-to-1, then they have to focus on balancing the skills in general. But I do think there's room for at least a little bit of simple balancing damage between classes, because there are so many different classes and the playstyles vary drastically.
So I guess the core idea that I was having on this was like, all right, all magic classes would do maybe 10% less damage to melee classes, or 20% less damage to ranged classes, right? And so then you'd have more of a global theme going on with, if you're a ranged class, this would be going on. Melee class.
Well, they were doing that.
Right.
And I remember it was magic damage and physical damage. And that was a big thing with strikers, is they didn't take a lot of magic damage. And then I think it just got overcomplicated. I know the class thing's always been there, but I think they tried to do something with that, but it just didn't pan out, because they're contractually obligated to shit out a new class every 6 months.
I think you guys are just giving them way too much credit. I think at the very beginning of this game, in the plus 15 days, there was something like the beginnings of a magic physical ranged system, and there were crystals that could gear you against different types of magic, and there was kind of some choices to be made there. It wasn't really implemented that well, and it's only gotten worse since then. And I think they've taken that magic ranged physical thing, and that is probably what blew up into the class modifiers that we have now. I don't think that they've ever really sat down and comprehensively thought about what the objective here is. I think that they see a problem and they throw a band-aid on it, and then they throw a band-aid on top of that band-aid, and then they throw another band-aid on top of that band-aid, and they never treat the underlying problem. Just
Well,
like,
you have to if you're making a class every 6 months. You're busy.
All right, so there's 100. If with Hashashin, there's 190 different combinations of how you can balance each individual class versus other classes. And every time you add another class, it gets infinitely more complicated. And I just think that this is not
Exponentially.
Yeah, exponentially more. Thank you. I just think it's something that's unsustainable. Maybe they can do it now, but why have to add 2 more classes? Then it's exponentially even harder, right? And they just need to.
That's a really good point.
They need to simplify that down to something that they can actually manage as a team. Because all right, if they have to go through 190 of these, even if they're doing one every single day, that means your class only gets changed once or twice a year. That's just not enough.
That's a really good point, Potion. That's a really good point.
Like if you hate the Hashashin versus Sorceress matchup, that's not going to happen for a whole another half year or a year. If you hate the so-and-so matchup, pick whichever class you hate fighting with your class. It's going to be another half year. And that's too long. And I don't really care what they end up doing, but it just needs to be simplified down where players can understand it and the development team can keep up with players' expectations. Anyway, we've talked about this a lot. What do you guys think about it? Closing thoughts.
I got it all out. I'm good.
I still am not seeing the reason to have different class modifiers. I think that there's some classes that they already have different flat evasion and damage reduction scores for different classes. I think that they could play around a little bit more with having certain skills having high accuracy and certain skills having high damage. Right now we have classes where sometimes you just have both and other classes have neither. I think those things are a lot simpler to understand and could be used to balance the game rather than having, like you said, dozens or even hundreds of individual 1v1 multipliers that have to be balanced, because that's just not possible no matter how well you know the game. And these guys, I don't know how many different people are working on this. I don't know how many clashing opinions they have, but it's balance in this game has been all over the place. We don't need to make it more complicated.
Yep.
I think they should focus on making it more simple and easy for people to figure out and participate in.
All right, so I have our next topic for us. Our next topic is actually the new rental weapons. They're 50 CP a piece. They already did a set of these. They had a whole set of them already come out. Now they have a second set that's come out. And these are the ones I thought were last time. I thought these came out, but they weren't. This is basically a Tet Zarka or a Tet Nuver, I believe, or a Tet Dandelion -4 AP. And then as far as the additional stats go, they have 1 less all species, 1 less monster AP, and they have 5 AP added to the base, to the extra stats. So it doesn't count against your sheet, but you get it there. So basically, it's an interesting, not good for sheet AP Tet Zarka, right? Or Tet Nuver. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play through the game, go through the main storyline, and once you complete Valencia, I think part 1, then you can basically rent these, and I don't have to do any enhancing, right? And then that, for my needs, that's good enough. I think I'm going to be 270 AP with Kudum with that.
So I think I need to start this game over in general, because some of the things that they do, right? We talked about this last week, where it's all about new player experience. I'm so fucking far removed from the new player experience that I have no idea how to wrap my head around some of these things that they do. Renting the most convoluted version of a weapon possible. And I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to start an EU account and have a budget for a couple $100 or something, and get some content out of just starting fresh and seeing what it's like with all these things that have come out since I've started the game and what it really feels like. Because I hear this and it hurts. It hurts that this is what they're focusing on. But I started this game 4.5 years ago. So I think I need to bring myself back in perspective on what new and newer players are experiencing in their trials and tribulations, so I can not feel so jaded about this kind of stuff that they do, because I don't get it.
It's not going to. All right. Yeah, I'll give you a TLDR what you're going to experience. You're going to try it, then you're going to realize that they designed the entire new player experience to do the main campaign through Belnos, Thurindia, Caltheon, Medea, Valencia, and then you get all your weapons and all of your accessories that you need, with the exception of a handful. Which again, then you continue doing the main storyline and you get all those too. That is their entire purpose. They want the main storyline to be a one-stop solution to everything. And I think the only thing they're lacking right now is really armor. I mean, everything else
I think
you get.
the problem this is a consistent problem with this game. They aren't willing to let go of bad content. When they do something in the game and it doesn't work out, they continuously look for ways to thrust that back onto the players. And I think questing in this game is an amazing example of that. They spent all this effort redoing all these story quest lines, and they're just still not that good. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. It is what it is. People find it pretty boring. It's mostly an autopath simulator. 99% of the people who play the game don't even read the text. A lot of it's not even translated properly. It's just not why people are playing the game. There's a very, very small percentage of people who actually care about questing.
Yeah.
And yet every season they're going to force new and old players to go through the main quests again, which just means we're going to spend 90% of the first week of the game on the back of a horse watching Netflix while we autopath. Like, it's not what makes the game good. And they need to, I understand that they put all this work into redoing these storylines, but they need to let it go. Like so many other parts of the game that didn't work out, they need to let them go and move on and focus on what does work.
Excellent
And
point.
coming out with a fourth or fifth set of welfare gear for new players. How many times have they done this? First, it was the Medea Union gear, and then they revamped all the accessories that you get from the main quest. They've done this so many times. Like, just if we want to let people new players catch up, then give them the silver or the materials or whatever that they need to get gear off the market or make it themselves. I don't know why we need yet another set of welfare gear that new players have to be like, whoa, am I supposed to be using this, or am I supposed to be using this quest item, or should I rent, or like, I don't see what problem it solves. They should allow new players to experience rapid acceleration in their gear progress. That doesn't mean that they should skip
that's
their
seasons,
gear progress. Right? Yeah, like that doesn't mean that they should just skip to having tech gear, but the road from +0 to tech should be accelerated because the game's in that state, but let them experience that progression at least. Don't just keep coming up with new sets of flat stat armor. I don't see what that does.
Right. So I was expecting you to call this a trap, quite frankly, right? 50 CP.
It is it is kind of a trap.
It's 100%, what you call a trap. And I didn't even realize until we started doing this podcast that this game does create content that traps new players into making bad decisions. Because that 50 CP can get you ready for cooking and making 200 mil a day. It can get you ready. I mean, there's an entire Discord dedicated to teaching you how to maximize your CP within the worker node to make 200 or 300 mil a day within just raw materials. Right? There's so many great things to do with CP, and I think the worst thing you could possibly do, especially with what this is season 1 at the time of this recording, is go play some fucking seasons, and they're just handing you Blackstones for seasons as much as possible. So why the actual hot fuck would you possibly need to spend 50 CP on a weapon for anything? It's a trap and you're losing money. 50 CP is worth a fucking lot if you're using it even half smart. So my advice to anybody who's listening to this and is thinking that that's a good addition is stay really far away from it. Do some research on CP through the Life Skill Discord or through your favorite content creator or your buddy in your guild that knows a thing or two about worker nodes, cooking and farming and all that stuff, and make money with that CP instead of making a bad decision.
Yep, I think that pretty much sums it up.
Hey, look, see, when Joe's gone, I can make some. I feel like there's more pressure for me to be smarter.
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Do you feel smarter?
A little bit.
Good. Excellent. What do you think about the rich merchant ring?
Stop. So I'm wrong.
I think they did an okay job. Surprisingly, I think they did an okay job with at least it exists now in theory. I mean, it actually doesn't because one of the pieces is in Odalita, but like at least the other pieces seem to exist. They've been dropping in Korea. I think I'm sure we've seen one or two of the pieces drop on NA at this point too. We have some idea of how you get them. The things you have to do to get the pieces are absolutely horrifying, but for people who want to torture themselves, it's like another infinite potion grind. Except
I was ready to say that. Yeah.
How do you acquire these pieces?
I know one of them is like hunting saltwater crocodiles out in the ocean. I don't remember the other one. Someone in chat can say what they are. Was it Rift? Is it confirmed? Yeah, Ash Forest. One of them is an Ash Forest drop. Is it confirmed that the Enraged boss hint was Dark Rift? Have we actually seen one drop from a Dark Rift?
So crocodiles,
okay, so someone in my
Dark
chat
Rift.
saying that they got one that they saw a screenshot from Ronin. So that makes sense because the hint was Enraged boss. So that's probably not fake. Yeah, so I mean, getting a piece from like having a super rare drop from a Dark Rift, having one piece where you have to go do sea monster hunting, have another piece where you have to grind Ash Forest. Like I'm not gonna do it, but I could see how it gives something for like super end game, players to go for. At least it exists in the game now. The previous Rich Merchant ring used to trigger the fuck out of me because every time they talked about it, I was like, you guys are describing an item that doesn't exist and cannot exist in the current state of the game. Like, it's impossible to get. It's like a 1 in a million drop on a thing that takes forever to do. No one will have it unless they play the game for 100 years. It would drive me crazy. So at least this new version seems to be something that you can actually get if you want to go through the headache of, spending hundreds or possibly thousands of hours chasing it down.
Question: Is the other piece from Savage Rift? Because that would be perfect.
Ugh.
I don't think so. It is the new effect that they gave it though is kind of interesting because the first person who gets that ring is going to be able to do some really shady things on the market. I mean, with an extra 5% revenue, like couldn't you kind of just like scum the entire cooking market with those margins?
Yep. And that's I wanted to call myself out when we were talking about the rework from the Heidel Ball. I said there's absolutely no fucking way they touch the marketplace tax break. And there they go with a 5% break on that. I that was a big swing and a miss for me. I'm pretty shocked that they did it and it's 5%.
I think the easy solution to that is just remove 5% from the value pack. Remove 5% from the value pack, and then maybe that's
people would be rioting in the streets over that.
How does that? What do you mean? How does that even begin to solve the problem?
Well, if you added 5%, then you subtract 5% from the value pack, because the addition of both of them together is the problem, correct?
All right, Joe.
What? So wait, you think that people who get the Rich Merchant ring should have a less effective value pack?
No, I think everybody globally, all value packs should get reduced by 5%.
No way.
That would increase the effectiveness of the Rich Merchant's ring because everyone would be getting less revenue, and so. Yeah, I'm not following at all. How does reducing a flat amount of the value pack fix this problem?
Because the marketplace has a maximum and minimum that you can list it at, right? It's always consistent, and then the space between those is what 10%, something like that. I don't correct. What is the percentage?
7.5.
7.5.
So if you have to be able to have profit margin that is greater than that, right? So if you buy it at the lower half and then
that's not how. The profit that you make on the market has nothing to do with the upper and lower caps on an item. We're not talking about people buying low and selling high. We're talking about people undercutting a sale price. So when everyone else is selling cron meals for 30K, you can sell them for 28. And if people try to compete with you at 28, they'll lose money on crafts, but you're still gaining money. And so they literally cannot make that meal anymore. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Well, is that really a problem though? Because aren't the Pepegas just selling underneath price anyway?
How many more traps does this game need?
It's possible that dipshits will just lose money on cooking after that and not do the math.
I know, because
it is definitely something. If someone gets the rich merchant ring, and there are some crazy strategies. I don't know if anyone's actually going to get it in the next 6 months or a year, and I don't think a lot of people will ever have it. I think it's going to remain a very rare item unless they buff it, because even if you want, like, some of the things, you can grind Ash Forest as much as you want, you can kill saltwater crocodiles as much as you want, but getting a rare drop off a Dark Rift, you just got to win the lottery. Like, there's nothing you can do to
You can't grind it.
increase your odds of doing
I
that,
think
right?
that
No matter
sets
how long you
on
play the
that
game.
path, right? So everybody does their dark rifts, and then you get that drop, and then you go, "Oh fuck, I've been chosen!" Right? It's like SWG, right? Where you get your first, you just, hey, I'm gonna be a marksman or whatever, and they go, "This is your path to be a Jedi." You're like, oh, I think that's how it's gonna be. Players that get that dark rift, they're like, "I'm going to hunt crocodile. Let's go, baby."
Yeah, I don't think that's a big.
I would do that.
I don't think it's a big issue though, because right now the cooking profits for just cooking and listing to the marketplace, there's nothing that gets you to 200 mil an hour, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, grinding always beats that. So even if you were some tryhard, if you had the gear to go to Ash Forest, you would just go grind stars in, and you'd make more money than the rich merchant ring would provide you.
I think with cooking is
maybe there's other stuff too. Enhancing, there's some enhancing margins that an extra 5% does some real interesting things too.
It's big.
Biohack already makes like
all about
what is
Imperial.
it? What's the crazy amount the Biohack makes an hour? 500 to $1 billion an hour or something ridiculous over the course of, if you average it out over a couple months. That's why he's making.
Well, and remember, 5% increased revenue doesn't necessarily mean 5% increased profit. If you're doing something that has a very thin margin, a 5% increase in revenue could be you could be making 5 or 10 times more money than you were before, depending on what that activity is. So that's
true. Yeah.
We'll see what happens when somebody actually gets it. I think they're going to break the game. They're going to find a way to use it that the devs are like, oh shit, we didn't think of that. So we'll see what happens, a year from now or whatever, when somebody finally completes it.
What people are going to do is they're going to buy costumes. They're going to wait until they go up in price by 4 times and sell them back. Then they'll get away with it.
Oh yeah, dude, the costume. I'm having to resist the urge right now to just spend my entire bank account on costumes, because we know that the increase is coming in the next few months, right? Like, it's hard to say when. But after seeing, I think it's similar to the other increases. It's getting raised by like 30 or 50% or something. But I mean, the point is, like, I don't know. It's last time this happened, Micken printed like 40 billion silver or something for free just by stockpiling costumes for a few months. Like, if you're willing to just sit on your money and not progress for a little while, you could just print cash in this game just by watching the patch notes. It's really hard for me to not just be like, let's hit the pause button. I'm just going to sink 50 bill into costumes. And
you have a lot of money, don't you, too, and a lot of silver, right?
Yeah, I do. I have a lot right now.
That's something. Can we do a little rabbit hole? I was wondering what your plans are with all the money that you're doing, and you're in a tier 1 guild and all this kind of stuff. Like, what the fuck are you up to? What are you up to?
I was gonna buy a pin Black Star for 100 bill.
Oh, that was a necklace. Oh.
No, I don't care about necklace. Pin Black Star is a way bigger upgrade. If my stacks on Tet Black Stars had gotten to a certain point, then I would have swung on it myself. But we did a little math, and like the bare minimum that I would need to go for Pin Black Star would have been about like 205 stacks. And I never got that high. I only got to like 170 something. So if I had gotten worse luck on the Tets, and maybe at some point, I'm just burnt out on enhancing right now, but maybe at some point I'll go back and try to push that stack higher. But as it is now, I'm probably just going to save up 100 bill and buy the Pin Black Star. Man, the thing is, like, even at a 170 or a 180 stack, if I can get a free 50% bonus to the Cronstones that I get from investing that money into costumes instead of investing 100 bill into the weapon itself, if 100 bill in like raw silver becomes 150 bill worth of Cronstones, then suddenly it is worth going for Pin Black Star on 180 or 170. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like I should just spend it all on costumes and just wait 3 months and see what happens. But it's a big gamble.
Man,
it's interesting.
that is I don't know. I ever since losing a lot on RNG, I just can't go back to it. I know that I'll get addicted to it again, and then I'll be buying artist memories again, and then I'll be buying chronostones again, and then it'll just be doomsday for Potion Shop, bro. It'll just be terrible. So I was buying. I have to buy. I have to. I cannot be tempted by it anymore.
I just wish they would get rid of the possibility of even stockpiling costumes. They should make it so that pre-patch costumes stay pre-patch and don't get retroactively buffed. And I know that takes a little bit of work, but it can't be that hard. Like, just make a new item that you sell in the market after the other one comes out, and make it so that the legacy ones are legacy ones. It wouldn't be that difficult.
I think what the solution to this is they don't need to allow you to sell individual pieces anymore. Make it where you can only sell the full costume, and then you don't have to duplicate like 5,000 pieces of costumes, right?
So I forgot to say the other day I took 7 unprotected swings on my Tet Nuver because I'm not PvPing for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually built a 100 stack, and I have a 148, 149 stack now. 147.
Not bad.
So I was hoping for a cheap Pen Nuver, but I think I have a Duo Dead God stack now. I think that's what I'm gonna.
You're gonna use on Duo?
Yeah, that's what you need for a Duo Dead God, right? Roughly, that's from the KR.
You could do Duo on 110 probably.
Yeah, you think?
So what about I'd have to go back and look, but I think what we decided was it was like 60 or 80 for Pry, 110 for Duo, and like 170 for Try. I think that was kind of about where we figured was good ranges. I don't think you need that much for Duo. Yeah, I think it's pretty cost effective. Like that's why I've been telling people to go for Pin Red Nose as their first pin, because the upgrade to Dead God is going to be really cost effective compared to other pieces.
So I've got a 140. I'm sorry for the rabbit hole. I got a 147 stack. What the fuck would you do with it?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what you were going to do.
Make
a Black Star and sell it. Yeah, make a Tet Black Star and sell it. Honestly, I think that's the best thing you can do with a 140, 150 stack.
Should I just raw dog it? You cron for try and raw dog.
You don't cron the Tets. You always raw the Tet, and you can cron try if you want to. Cronning try, you basically save time and masses, but you spend a little bit more money. And you fail stack kind of inefficiently because you don't gain the stacks off the try. But try, you can go either way. But yeah, the Tet you always do raw, and you can build that 150 up to, if you get unlucky, you could push that to 180 or 200, and then you have a Try Dead God stack. So
180
is probably the Try Dead God stack that you'd chill on.
180
for the new class.
I mean, the higher the better. And then 200 is a pretty decent stack even for like pin accessory swings. Like it's not great, but
I was thinking 160, 170 for, I'm not going to buy a pen necklace. I mean, how many orders let's go Ogre, right? Let's look at Ogre right now. It's 80 billion with 2 orders on it. So there's a 1 in 3 chance when some idiot decides to sell his pen Ogre that I'm even going to get it after saving up 80 billion silver. That's a long time. So I was thinking, maybe if I had this 150, 160, 170 stack, save up 11 billion and just cron it. I have no idea what cron looks like.
I think a 200 stack is like 10% for pin accessory, right?
That's not bad, especially if you're cronning.
Yeah, I mean, if Tet is 1/10 the cost of pin, I mean, this is going to vary from item to item, but that might be feasible, and yeah, you might be able to cut the cost with those crons too if the base price is really high. So,
hold on, before we get out of this rabbit hole, I'm sorry, I'm swapping over characters so I can see what it costs to cron pen Ogre. I'm actually pretty interested in this. I've never even looked.
I'm guessing
it's probably more cost effective to cron a pin distortion.
I'm guessing 8,000 crons.
5,699.
Well, the difference in price, but the difference in the actual price and the cron price on an Ogre aren't going to be huge, but the difference between the actual price and the cron price on a distortion is huge. It's like double or triple. So if you were to like cron a pin distortion on 200 stacks, that's probably actually not bad. I mean, I'd have to look to confirm that, but that's actually probably not that bad.
Distortion is 7,499, so 7,500 for a distortion. But that's the same price. I mean, it's
But I'm saying compared to the market value of a distortion, the cron prices are fixed, right? So if I remember right, the cron price of an ogre is 95 mil, and the cron price of a distortion is 125 mil. But if you look at the base price of ogres, and versus the base price of distortions on the market are 2.5 times their cron value, whereas ogres are like 1.5 times their cron value. So if you use cron stones, you create a bunch of extra value compared to other accessories by using them on distortions.
So I don't want to argue with your math too much, but I'm looking at a 10 AP 5 and 5 upgrade for 5,700 cron stones. Just the face value of the cron stones that I'm using. I have to use roughly 25% more cron stones to get a 3 AP upgrade versus.
Yeah, you're looking at the value of looking at the AP per silver value. I'm just looking at the raw item value. So there's a couple different ways you could look at it. The necklace is probably going to be a better upgrade for you because it's 5 AP instead of 3. But in terms of the actual value of the item, I mean, you might even be in a situation where you could make a pin distortion and for less sell it, and then even after taxes use that money to buy the necklace. I don't know if that's the case, but considering how much more value you could get from cronning distortions,
I get what you're saying.
Do we know what the chances for it downgrading when you cron an accessory?
That's a good question.
We think it's 30%, but I don't think there's any hard data. It's hard to get a big sample size.
Right.
That's big.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Thank you for the rabbit hole. What's next?
Yeah, what's next?
All right, so we have the skill menu got revamped, and I think it's good and terrible at the same time. What do you guys think?
I hate it.
I think it's better than the old one. I think it's missing a few key components, though, in terms of like the presets. I think that the presets need to have they need to remember your hotkeys and your skill cooldown slots for one. Like your stuff in your hotbar. I don't want to manually change that every time I go from one kit to another.
Right.
And I don't understand the 1 hour cooldown when you switch using the old moon book. I think it should be like 5 minutes. Why do we care so much if people are switching sets out in the open?
Maybe Node Wars? Maybe that's the reason? I don't know.
Just don't make it deactivated during Node Wars then. Easy fix, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, even during Node War, like why do we care if someone's switching between Succession and Awakening during Node War? I don't care. I don't want them to switch mid combat. Like if any of their skills are on cooldown, obviously they shouldn't be able to do it. But if someone like runs off to the side and switches to a different kit, what do I care? Like, I don't know. Does that break the game?
Yeah, I don't think so. So
it sounds like one of those things that they did because they felt like they were supposed to, or something like that. It doesn't really make too much sense to me.
I do think
it was just safe zone. What if it was just safe zone?
Oh, people in chat are saying that Global Lab does remember your hotbar and your quick slots. Okay, well in that case, I like it. I think the new skill menu is good. I like
so they're still working on
the presets are something that we definitely needed. And yeah, what do you guys not like about it?
That it takes my entire screen.
Actually, I think I like the ability to preview the ability. I do think that there should be an option. Is there an option to toggle off the preview? Okay, never mind. There is. I'm just stupid. I just figured it out.
Well, you had that in the old skill.
You guys are being haters.
No,
you don't like it because it's too big.
I think
I do. No. So I'm not a person that like Facebook changes and I go, I hate Facebook changed, and then 2 weeks later everybody doesn't even remember what the old thing was. I like that it was just a little menu that popped up, and it wasn't like that. It's this gargantuan, decision like when I'm looking at knowledge or something like that. I'd like the compact. They could have reorganized it, but when I look into this and how they have it grouped and main skills and secondary skills, that the moving the passives off to the side makes sense to me, but I don't understand, and it doesn't make it easier for me to find my skills. None of this is more intuitive to me, especially looking at a new player experience. Not saying that the old one was any better, but I don't think this is an upgrade. I think it's a side grade for how it's organized at the best.
So
the worst, it's a complete downgrade.
I think it's an upgrade because like it's not perfect. I agree. There's some weird placements of skills, but I do think it's an upgrade just because of the way that they did prerequisites. The fact that every skill that has a prerequisite is now directly tied to that skill with a solid line, so you can see like this skill leads into this skill. I think that makes things a lot more simple for people who are trying. Because before it's like, okay, so this skill requires this other thing. I have to go back to the other screen. I have to scroll down. I went past it. I got to scroll back up. Like, okay, which one are they talking about? Like, I don't know.
I just wish
like
they
how it's all
reorganized
kind
the
of
old
tied
one.
together.
I would just wish they reorganized the old one. It would have been fine. I don't think we needed a whole big Xbox menu for this.
Well, you can disable the camera preview.
Xbox menu,
you can disable the camera preview at the bottom left-hand side of the skill menu, and I think that makes it pretty reasonable.
Okay, yeah, that is better. I didn't see that.
I didn't either. I just found it. So I do think that's much more reasonable. I do wish that they had separated the Awakening and everything into different tabs. I like the tab system. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how it works, but is there no tab here? I'm looking at the Korean version. I haven't looked at the NA version.
Yeah, there's a tab at the very top. It's main, Awakening, and then skill enhancements.
Okay. So on mine, I can't click at that.
I've been blended with your main skills now, and they all have little arrows connecting them. And then Awakening is still a separate tab, and then Rabam's skill fusions are the third tab.
Well, I think it's pretty good then overall. I think it's
now that it doesn't take up my whole screen, I'm a little happier about
it. Maybe the default should be that it's turned off like that. That would be maybe a plus.
I don't know.
All right.
Again, I need to start this game from scratch so I can get perspective, honestly.
They added new haircuts. You can have new haircuts. They gave the same haircut to all male classes. What do you think?
I think that there should be a haircut task force, and there should be a minimum number of haircuts that they add to the game every week.
I think Potion Shop's the only streamer here that doesn't have an exclamation point haircut command.
I don't have any problem with them adding more haircuts. That's fine. Like add more fluff to the game, whatever. The thing that kind of annoyed me was the fact that they labeled it major content update. there was like 3 or 4 things in this week's patch that were labeled major content update, and 0 to 1 of them were actually major content updates. Like, don't just stop it. Don't call it a major content up. Add the hair. That's fine. I like more hairstyles, but just stop it.
Reminds Moreland of his youth.
Yo, well, that's about wrap up for our Black Desert news. You guys want to start jumping into the other stuff?
It depends. What's the other stuff?
That's really all we had for BDO in the last 2 weeks.
There's not really a whole lot. I literally put everything they put in there.
So I've got some interesting BDO stuff that happened to me.
Sure.
So Moreland, you're still a BDO partner, right?
I think so.
You need to double check.
I check the Discord like once a week. It's mostly just people talking about their cats.
Oh, good. Nothing's changed. So they retweeted me going live yesterday.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm not a BDO partner though.
Who cares? It's not
maybe the person who does the Twitter doesn't know that or doesn't care.
I felt bad. I felt bad that, I renounced my BDO partnership, and then the first tweet that I at BDO with, they retweet when I'm not a partner, and there's all these other partners that are probably going, wow, I really wish or miss when they retweeted our content in any way, shape, and form. And then
maybe
I get
olive branch, Tim.
I can't tell if it was passive aggressive or an olive branch or just somebody
spitefully retweeting you.
Wouldn't that be funny if it was like this passive aggressive? Just this like bitch move, just like, you want to leave us? Look what do you miss these, bitch? Do you miss these? Kind of thing. That's the way I took it. That's the way I took it.
I think that's unlikely.
I thought it was interesting though. So that's my drama on BDO. Yeah.
Did you have like a really good tweet?
No. Do I ever?
No. I don't know. I don't read your Twitter.
Oh shit. Yes, you do. You like my stuff all the time. Stop it.
I feel like there's other stuff in BDO that we missed. I might take a run through the patch notes real quick. First of all, the HP journal, 600 HP is pretty big.
Okay. Yep.
Have you guys started on that adventure yet?
How do you
No.
do it? What is there anything special with it?
There's four books, and there some of them are obnoxious. The first one is just you kill Dark Rift, so that's fine. Like I feel like that's a good little journal task, for people who haven't done it for whatever reason. Like that feels kind of like a BDO mobile journal that they would add. It's like, here's something that's in the game. It's worthwhile to do anyways. If you haven't done it, here's some more rewards to go do it.
Yeah.
The second book, I actually had a shitload of fun doing the second book. The second book, they give you a screenshot and some vague, mostly useless hints about where you're supposed to go. And then on top, once you finally find the location, you have to do math puzzles to figure out the answer. And dude, I had so much fun. We got to the end. I did this for like 2 days straight. We got to the end. I didn't look up anything. I kept putting chat in emote only mode because idiots were trying to spoil it the whole time. Dude, I got to the end. I was so sad when I got to the third book and it was just like, oh, go explore exploration points. I really wanted more puzzles, dude. We need more of those books.
Okay, so when I do that, I may meet you at that challenge. I think
try to do book 2 without looking it up, dude. It is fucking hard. They're finding the locations. Some of the locations are obvious, but like half the locations are super hard to find. You got to know your BDO geography.
Mm.
And then the math puzzles, some of them are actual math, and some of them are just like, I don't want to spoil it if you're actually going to try, but some of them are just like, it's hard to explain. They're like riddles instead of actual math, but they all involve numbers. I think they did a really good job, like a surprisingly good job.
I like the journals in general. I think it's a little. Again, I really want to play this game from scratch because tackling journals when they come out is fine, and it's actually probably some veteran content. But if you're starting from scratch, I kind of feel bad looking at some of these, how much you have to do in the soiled ogre and all these kind of weird things that you have to do to get all this like really important sheet AP to catch up to everybody else. And it just keeps stacking up. And now journals has turned into this like enormous chore for new players.
Yeah, I think about 3/4 of them are definitely a chore. The journals should be, like I said, it should be stuff that is already rewarding to do. It shouldn't be things that you have to punish yourself by, like going and killing ogres, which have not been relevant for almost 4 years. The journals in BDO Mobile are all like real easy. It's like go craft this item or go loot this item or like go do this task where you can just teleport to the screen and do it. The journals in PC, it's like they tried to copy the journals from mobile, but they didn't realize that PC is a lot different from mobile and it takes a lot longer and it's a lot more tedious to do these things. Whereas in mobile, this would take 10 seconds. On PC, it takes like 3 hours to do some of these tasks. So, yeah, I think a lot of them are definitely chores. And for a new player, I can see how that would be super daunting. That's one of the reasons I stopped playing Xbox, is because I was like, pretty soon these journals are going to come out.
Yep.
No way that I'm going to be playing another version of this game and doing journals on both. That's just way too much of a chore. Like, I want to be actually playing the game for fun.
Yep. I'm in that mindset too, where if I'm not making 200 mil an hour, I'm kind of upset with whatever I'm doing. Even just gathering meat, to do my 200 mil a day for River boxes. I'm making sure that I'm like also maxing out my CP so I can continue to make more per day and stuff like that. So if I'm making so much money and it's so much fun to do that, where it'd be great to get this experience as a new player and stuff, and I should do it, but fuck, I'd rather get 305, 346 instead.
How important is to have a new player perspective, Tim? That's the question.
It is the question. It's something I gotta figure out. I gotta kind of reset myself and what I'm doing. I'm at a really big fork right now as a streamer, as a content creator, and really as a person. So I got to figure out, get some ideas, take a couple weeks, jot them down, see what I'm gonna do.
Do we miss any other big stuff?
I don't know. I already got everything. Okay, so
I have to go PP real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Take over, Joe.
Some of the other things we have today, guys, is Destiny 2. We have New World. I think the most interesting thing here, as far as like big topics go, is TikTok is like being threatened to get banned in America due to privacy concerns. I mean, there's
You
so
think
many.
any of us have anything meaningful to say about that? I mean, it's basically just a dick measuring contest between the U.S. government and the Chinese government, right? Like they're just flexing at each other. I don't know if that
Well, I
seems kind of
guess,
outside the scope of what any of us would know about.
yeah. I mean, I don't know much about that, but the Chinese government has a big involvement in video games, right? Like Tencent is a big company that's based in China, and they own Riot Games. They have Path Exile. A lot of big names are either owned or highly influenced by a Chinese company. And I'm kind of curious if you think this will affect any, potentially affect any video games, that are based out of China.
I don't think those companies are based out of China. Like Riot being owned by Tencent is different from like them being a Chinese company. They're still based in the United States. I don't think that like the Chinese government can tell Riots to mine your personal information. That seems like a bit of a rabbit hole. I also kind of feel like for any of us to have a meaningful opinion on this, we would need to do a lot more research.
Yeah, I agree. If I can, I'm a little more interested in the fact that we still don't know why Dr. Disrespect was banned.
Oh, okay.
That's weird, dude. That keeps me up at night.
I looked up some videos on the legal side of it because I don't know legal stuff. But obviously there's a lot of money involved here. With, if the contract is upheld, then Twitch has to pay him a lot of money. If the contract is not upheld, then he loses a lot of money. So there's two businesses here that are
waiting for a leak. You think he's waiting for a leak so he can get paid?
Dude, I can't believe nobody's leaked it yet. Like, don't these people want clout? It's such.
I bet there's a gun to their head. I bet there's a gun to their fucking head, man.
So, contract wise, basically, if let's say they banned him because someone had sexual allegations against him, right? How about that goes to court and then turns out to be false? Then potentially Dr. Disrespect could take Twitch to court and say, hey, look, I wasn't guilty of that. Look, court said I was innocent, and you broke a multi-million-dollar contract with me because of that, right?
I can't see it being the sexual misconduct thing. You guys think everything would be this quiet if it was sexual misconduct? I feel like almost certainly someone would be like, hey, it's sexual misconduct. Like that stuff is all over Twitter right now. Why would they keep it quiet?
All contracts, right? So one, he could sue for defamation of character.
What contracts though? Like if that information is out there, someone's gonna say it.
Twitch has a contract with Dr. Disrespect for him to be exclusive to Twitch. This based on looking at YouTube videos from lawyers, right? And what their perspective is. I obviously am not in the know here. This is secondhand information. Basically, it is in both Twitch's interest and Dr. Disrespect to not leak anything. That way, can get back to doing business.
Like Twitch is this monolithic entity. Twitch, there's people at Twitch who could leak shit on 4chan and no one would ever find out that it was them, right? Like people, if you've ever talked to these people, I mean, just like meeting Twitch employees at conventions and stuff, like 2 or 3 drinks in, they start telling you all kinds of shit they're not supposed to tell you. I think that it's astounding that we haven't heard anything. And if it was something like sexual misconduct, bro, 99% chance we would know that by now. Someone would have said it's got to be some weird contract, some contract dispute that's not that interesting. That's like I don't know what it is, but I don't think that it's like a Me Too thing. We would have seen it by now.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. That was my biggest fear from the last conversation we had with this is, the two-timer and all that kind of stuff. And, somebody made an allegation or something that, is kind of forced to be taken seriously. And Twitch is just like slapping people as hard as they can for these allegations. And that's a different conversation that I'm certainly not trying to get into. But I think weeks into this, and still this last tweet, Champions Club, Twitch hasn't told me their decision on why they decided to ban me, which is the boldest face lie.
Yeah, 100% not true.
So, I think you have to look at the wording he used on that. And again, I encourage you guys to go, and anyone else interested to go look up videos on a lawyer's perspective on this. He says the specific reason, however you say it, right? The
Specific.
that one. They don't tell him that, to the T what he messed up on, but he probably knows the general idea, right? Those are two different things. He probably has a general idea, like, all right, you broke our community guidelines.
It's still
right?
a lie, though. Like, even if his wording is lawyerly safe, he's lying when he says he doesn't know. Like,
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't know specifically what line of the contract he broke, but he knows he violated the contract. So he's fucking lying to us when he says he doesn't know. Like, that is not a genuine statement.
No, I agree. I do think that because, people are always going to misunderstand that and then assume that Twitch is just not telling him anything, which is obviously not true, or at least extremely hard to believe that that would be true at this point, right? So yeah, I do think that that would be a lie to the community listening to him, regardless of how they receive it. But yeah,
Hey,
anyway,
I got something
think it's
interesting.
Yeah.
Summit 1G tweeted 13 hours ago. I'm putting this on the podcast. I got an urge to try BDO again. Shit.
Uh-oh. Think he's going to come back for seasons?
I don't know.
He's not going to like going for Tet.
So that's I think that's something to talk about, a little related.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You got I seem to remember you got a big boost from Summit 1G coming through last time, right, Moreland?
No, I got a boost from Soda. I never got a boost from
Soda.
Summit.
I'm sorry, it was Soda.
Lakari got all the credit for rescuing Summit from stream snipers, even though it was Vertex who did it. So yeah, I'm not salty.
I owned Balanos when Summit played the first time, and there was people in his chat. There was Twitch staff in his chat going, "Why is Tim Allen's face all in this game?"
I remember that.
Yeah. So you guys want to come back to Aftershock real quick and just nab Balanos?
I'm still in there, bro. I'm ready.
Oh, let's do it. Let's grab it.
I'll merc. I can merc for you guys, right?
I don't even know if I have enough people to drop a node. We lost another one today. We're down to 13 potion shop. What do we do?
We can ask our viewers to join as mercs. Won't that work?
Yeah, let's just use Biohack's polar bear accounts. I'm sure he's got it.
I'm gonna kick this guy. We're gonna go down to 12.
Wait, me?
No.
Oh, okay. I'd hate to get kicked out of a 13-man guild or a 12-man guild.
All right, so we got a little more time.
You guys remember when I played Albion online with Summit for like 20 minutes?
No, you did?
That happened?
Yeah, have I told this story?
No, what? All right, let us know.
So at Albion launch, I was in this real sweaty guild, and we were ahead of the curve, and I had really good gear and shit. And Lakari was sponsored to play Albion, and I think Summit was also sponsored to play Albion. And since Lakari knew that I was like really far ahead, he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to take me and Summit out for some PvP?" And I was like, "Obviously, yeah. I'm not going to say no to that." And so we put together a Hellgate team, and I'm in Discord with Lakari, Summit, and I don't remember who else was there, but we have this 5-man team. And I'm like, "So are you guys sure you want to do this? Because this is like a full loot PvP situation. If you die, you're going to lose all your stuff." And they were like, "Oh, hell yeah. Like, let's go fuck some people up." And so we go to a full loot Hellgate, and the other 5v5 team that we're put against is allied to my guild. So I'm literally not able to help them against this guild, and they just get wiped 4v5. And everyone in Discord is just silent afterwards. The people in game and Albion were like, "Fuck you, Summit, get shit on, kid," like just making it absolutely worse. And you know how Summit is not a fan of stream snipe. Like, we've all seen him punch his monitor and shit. He doesn't take it well when like shitters teabag him or whatever after beating him in a game. So he's just fuming, and I'm just sitting here like, well, there goes the possibility that I'm ever gonna get any kind of boost from this guy. So I guess that gaming relationship is dead.
Do you remember Pace from 2018 TwitchCon? Did you guy taller than me?
Probably.
He plays. He's like the largest Sea of Thieves streamer now, and he was just like I don't even remember where he was in his career, but he just like walked around with us a little bit at 2018 BDO. I don't know if you met him or hung out with him, Potion, but he's like a 2,000 viewer Andy for Sea of Thieves now because he played Sea of Thieves with Summit and still does pretty regularly. Yeah, like he's probably made more money in the past year than I'll ever make in my life. It's just totally fucking set. So it'll be interesting to see what, if he actually does. King Gathalion tweets about coming back to BDO pretty regularly and never does. And, I know that there's probably some grabbing things for people to come back to this game or try it as a top 10, top 5, top 20 streamer in the world. But man, if you're going to punch your monitor because you get shit talked and stream sniped, that's going to be a 5-minute situation for Summit.
Well, he got stream sniped on BDO, and he did okay. But that was also like, yeah, cool, because people would come to his defense too. I mean, like I said, there was a time where he was getting stream sniped at Pirates, and it ended up turning into this like 200-person open world brawl because like one guild came out to help him, and then another guild came out to kill the guild that was helping him, and it just descended into madness. So, but I mean, overall, I think I don't know. Maybe I do feel like the game's gotten more toxic since last time he played. So more people sniping him rather than trying to help him this time around. So yeah, it could get pretty nasty. But he could play on the Olvia servers, right? At least when he comes back.
I'm just gonna say Summit 1G because I know you're listening. I am the guild master of Aftershock, and we are currently undeckable. Doesn't mean you won't get sniped, but it will be considerably worse for them to snipe you. So just come on through. I got one open spot, and I think you could take it. I was thinking about changing my icon to the 1G icon just to be that sweaty about it.
He just needs to get another loan from Snake.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I interviewed B-Kill about that. That was all right. So can we talk about Destiny for a minute?
Sure. Destiny 2 just came out with a lot of content in the middle of a season where most games release all their content up front. Destiny is kind of just trickling it out as it goes. And this week they did a lot of things. They came out
It's called R. Kellying it, by the way.
They came out with some new loot. They came out with a new exotic weapon, which is sort of like a Zarka.
They peed on the game?
Drip, drip, drip.
This is so above my head. I don't understand it.
Sorry, new content. Yeah.
So they've been working really hard on a lot of interesting things to come out. Right, a lot of things are giving people reasons to come back to the game. And so I've been playing it a lot the last 2 weeks, and so has Tim. He's been playing it for the last couple days, right?
Yeah. If I'm playing a video game off stream, I've been playing Destiny too. I don't know. I think that it's the PvP is so good. It feels like Halo but cleaner, right? And it scratches that FPS thing that I talk about all the time on the podcast. I truly enjoy FPS, but I don't feel like I'm doing anything when I play Call of Duty. I feel like I'm just playing Call of Duty. I feel like I'm doing something when I'm playing Destiny too. There's a big Twitch community to it. I have fun with the game. There's raids, there's PvE, there's PvP. There's that. What's that thing that we were comparing? The new thing that's coming out in BDO, that the Gambit. The Gambit.
Yeah.
That shit's pretty fucking cool. It's weird at first, and then it's like best of 3. And so you come back to it, and you're like killing mobs, and you're collecting loot from them. And then if you get enough loot without dying, you can put a blocker on the other team's side, and then invaders come in, and you have to PvP them. So it's like you pick your strongest person to 1vx the other team. It's super lit. Like I've been sleeping on Destiny too. I think if we have a conversation about other games that are relevant in any way, shape, or form, I can't believe that we have slept on Destiny 2 so much, because there's so much goddamn content in that game. As long as you like gunplay and a little, so you get some squishy targets. And I understand there's people, not everybody's going to like every game, but as far as like relatable MMO, especially if you've ever played a FPS growing up or something like that, there's a ton of fucking cool. It's Halo meets WoW.
Yeah, I feel like the really cool thing about it is that it scratches that loot itch that a lot of people have. People like getting that loot reward system, like Diablo, Path of Exile, even Black Desert does that, right? And then basically Destiny does that as well. And for people who don't know, there's a new game mode coming out in Black Desert where basically it's going to be, is it 2 5-man teams? Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah. I don't
And
think we've seen any version of it yet. It's just in theory now.
yeah, and it's going to be in a new area that's not released yet in NA and EU. And the idea is it's going to be a hybrid between PvE and killing monsters, and then also the ability to go and kill the enemy players on an enemy team. So it's kind of like a hybrid, and they kind of race to a boss, and then whoever kills the boss first wins. And we don't really know all the details and everything because they haven't really shown it off yet. It's not available to be played. But they have a very similar game mode in Destiny where it's a hybrid of this PvE versus PvP. And if it's anything like the Gambit version that they have in Destiny, I think that'll be a really, really cool game mode for Black Desert.
Now that I've really seen what Gambit is, I'm really more excited for, I don't want to call it ripping it off, but I'm excited for maybe their version of it, and they have a small version of that in BDO Mobile, which I assume is where they're getting their inspiration from. But it's really good. I'm excited I've enjoyed my Shadow Arena sponsorship, but I'm excited to be done with it so I can do some other stuff. And I think that's going to free up a lot of time for me to check out. I was expecting to check out New World, but if we can there's not much to talk about with Destiny, but I just want to hit some more games.
I wasn't expecting it.
So
was that sarcasm? I'm sorry, I can't tell.
Oh, you're definitely dripping with it.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I mean, I was not surprised that New World got pushed back. I think it's good. Maybe the game will actually be fun if they give themselves another year of developments.
What was the date that got pushed back to?
Spring 2021, which means minimum of 1 year from now.
Wow,
that's a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that comes out before July.
Now,
did they do closed beta?
The closed beta hadn't happened, so they are
allowed to push the final beta back as well.
They have some special ability. They're going to grant access to everybody who pre-ordered it, apparently, which it totally explains why you and me had some communication problems. Now that this is you
and me,
yeah, you and me. Because we were talking, me and Tim were talking about New World off stream, like trying to figure out, hey, like, is there an email? Like, how do we talk to them and everything? And
yeah, because I don't want to shit talk a game without having any sort of context of it whatsoever. Yeah, exactly. All I see is like YouTube videos, and then TwitchCon 2018. There's people signing NDAs to like take a look at this, and so I didn't see it myself. I stay away from NDAs unless I know exactly what I'm getting into. But I talked to a couple people that broke the NDAs immediately at getting out of that booth. They're like, bro, that idea like makes sense. It's good. I like it, etc. And I'm like, all right, okay, let's keep an eye on this. And then as the game started developing and people started complaining, they just paid way too much attention to their forums, and they killed it. They killed it before even a real beta, a closed beta came out.
Now, so I'm curious, do you guys think that this is a good thing for New World or a bad thing for New World? Because this is a second delay.
A good thing. There was no way the game was going to be good if it came out this year. There was no way. They completely gutted it at the beginning of this year. They were going to remake an MMO in a few months. What the fuck? No possible scenario. I don't care how much Amazon money you have. That is not going to happen. The only way that this game had a chance was to push it back. So, I just hope that they push it back and actually do something with that time rather than continuing to gut the game and simplify it and make it like, I don't know, man. I'm still really skeptical. Like after reading that blog about like how player killing has no place in our game, that like weird, ethical dilemma about like how people who like PvP are bad people. Like it had these strange moral undertones to it. Like they were like being sanctimonious about getting rid of player killing in their game.
That's the word, sanctimonious.
Weird, dude. Like, it's like super weird. If they keep up with that stuff, then I don't think even another year is going to help them. But maybe they'll take this time and they'll realize the feedback that they've been getting. Because everyone I've talked to who's played the game since the beginning of this year has said the same thing. They're like, oh, it's kind of cool, but like pretty boring, pretty meh overall. Like I haven't talked to a single person who's played it this year and been like, holy shit, dude, it's the next big thing. Like all the hype is gone. All the hype from a year or two ago is gone. Everyone who tries it is like, oh, okay, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I hope they just go radio silent, like 100%. This radio silence, and then because after a year, most Redditors it's gonna be gone. They're not gonna remember anything about it anymore, right? And then maybe that'll kind of revive a little bit of that hope and excitement, if they come out 9 months from now and like, hey, look, here's some awesome actual gameplay, right? These are things we think you'll be excited about, and look, they're Pog, right? I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's good too. Hopefully that they use their time wisely, right? They've bought themselves a year, and hopefully that means something.
What about WoW Retail? There's a new expansion coming out for that, right?
When is it?
I just hope that Odalita will finally come out when the next WoW expansion comes out. Because I mean, we were
It's not gonna be with New World, right? Yeah.
we were joking, right, that Odalita was being postponed until New World. So hopefully that's not still tied together. Because I'm
Somebody
pretty sure that
said
is
that.
actually
Yeah.
how they do it. I'm pretty sure that they do just wait until their competitors launch something to give us expansions. So hopefully we'll get Odalita with World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
No, but have you kept up with WoW at all? Classic or
I dick around on Classic occasionally.
Now, isn't
I
this
play
one
some
supposed to be really
Eradication,
interesting?
but
Isn't this supposed to be like really cool? They're like resetting levels
all
and
supposed to
like
be
doing all
really
sorts
cool.
of crazy. They're bringing down the level cap, right?
They're doing a level squish. I don't really know why that's a feature or something to get excited about. It's literally just a number that's changing.
I don't have to
I
count
think-
to 120 anymore.
I think the way that they have managed the expansions and the growth within World of Warcraft to still make it relatable to new players and veteran players is something that should be studied for a long time. A long time. It's amazing. It's truly shocking and amazing how they've been able to maintain this base, keep them excited, and then still bring in new players. I assume there's people who haven't
Do you
played.
think that they're keeping things exciting? Everyone I know who plays WoW is just like, well, what else am I going to play?
Diablo is not subsidizing World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is subsidizing these other games. And maybe Hearthstone is keeping it all alive, right? They've got this umbrella of games that's managing it, but it's to the point where there was going to be a WoW 2, right? That was canceled at
Bro,
some level.
Diablo's like the 8th most selling game of all time. That game has a super good population to this day. It's doing really well. Every time they do a new season, I hear way more people get hyped over a new season of Diablo than they do over a new expansion of WoW. Even though a new season of Diablo is literally nothing new. It's just a reset.
They have like one
That's a
weapon
really
or something.
interesting point. That's an interesting point because on Twitter I saw, they put the promoted tweets and it was like season 22. Let me do a Joe. Season 22, Diablo 3, 50% off until July dates. Buy now. Buy the whole seat, but you only need the edge, right? And I'm like, who the fuck hasn't bought Diablo 3 and why would you buy it now? But so if that's the case, that's the case. People really want to get in before season 22.
There's a streamer called Bloodshed, and he basically started streaming 6 years ago. And now he has the most viewers when Diablo seasons come out. He has like 800 viewers when a Diablo 3 season comes out. And he just consistently holds 800 and it goes down to about 400. And he just consistently holds that the entire time. Because there's a dedicated core there that just loves Diablo. And you can actually...
D3 it's a clean game to get into. Like a new season of D3 is fun. It's only fun for 2 weeks, but like it's fun. I mean, I would play a new season of D3 before I would get back into retail WoW.
I think what Blizzard has more than anything is probably nostalgia, right?
It's
Diablo hits enormous nostalgia, enormous. Whether it's D3 or it doesn't matter, right? It's Diablo. And the World of Warcraft is nostalgia for just about everybody. The only thing that doesn't hit nostalgia is Hearthstone, which is probably a more pay-to-win game than BDO is, and Overwatch, which I forgot to put this in my weekly updates, got a 25-day ban on Overwatch the other night. So pretty proud of that.
Congrats, dude.
Thank you.
Wait, I thought you got banned from Overwatch.
25 is a weird number, not 30.
Yeah, it was 20. I had to go through a calendar and count it because I got banned on like the 24th or the 4th or the 3rd or 5th or something. Like you're unbanned on the 26th. I'm like, wait, what? How many? It's not weeks, it's days. I very specifically pissed a couple people off and calling them dog shit. So I'm learning. I'm
All you
taking.
called them?
There was a lot of content with my drunken Overwatch matches on Twitter. some guy got completely shit on. Okay, some guy got just demolished and put his Twitch. It's like 3 a.m. I'm tanked. I should be in bed. And we just run over this team in competitive. And this guy puts his Twitch in chat. And I'm like, if you got more than 7 viewers, I'll sub. He doesn't even have a sub button. He's got 2 viewers, and he's telling everybody from his previous game to get the fuck out of his game. And I said, thanks for taking the dick or something like that, right? And he puts, because I have the check mark, right? He puts it on Twitter and like adds Twitch support. Is this what you look for in your partners? And Shaky Bay gets on it, and it turns into this massive, like, let's cancel Tim Allen thing. It was amazing. It was amazing. And nothing happened.
Drama is what you thrive in best. If I've learned anything, it's that you thrive best in drama.
It's an Overwatch game. You got shit on. You plugged your Twitch. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
Do you guys remember when we played Last Oasis and the first group of people that we met in Last Oasis, Tim plugs in an Xbox mic from like 1981 and just starts swallowing it and screaming obscenities at these random strangers with absolutely zero provocation whatsoever.
Look, they said that they were new and they were lying to me. That was a provocation. Is I was being lied to, okay?
I think that there was a veteran player with a bunch of noob friends, kind of the same situation that we were in.
But I was shitting on him. I was shitting on him,
They were lying.
I don't know, man. It's video games. I'm not like making personal attacks. I'm just calling them dog shit. You got a problem with that, man? Unplug your internet now. Save the $40 a month. Also, internet's really cheap now. I realized that. That's a
Wait, you
that's
mean
great.
it's not cheap? It's cheap everywhere else, but where you lived before?
I guess my HOA got into like some terrible deal. I was paying $100 a month for gigabit internet. Now I'm paying. I have 2 internet connections, and it's less than $100 a month, and one of them is a gigabit.
I pay $100 a month for internet that doesn't work 20% of the time.
Yeah,
and isn't gigabit or even close to it.
Well, East Coast is best coast. I'm such a drama queen. Yeah, probably.
What else do we got?
That is it for my notes. I have one last thing to close this out on, but I'm not sure if you want to talk about other things first.
I got one more thing. Hit your thing, and then I want to throw something at you guys as a wild card and see if we want to talk about it. As part of the official podcast.
All right. Well, that was my plan with my last topic, so we'll do it together. I wanted to see if you guys want to talk about streamer mental health. Moreland has a fantastic video on this that I watched, and I thought it would be something that I am not one to talk on this, but I think it's a important topic, and if you guys want to talk about it, I think it's something that's important for people to be aware of.
I don't necessarily know if it's something that relates to streaming. I think that just in general, gamers tend to have bad habits when it comes to taking care of themselves, and this is something that I've been guilty of pretty much since I was a teenager. I don't know if I really want to I don't know how deep you want to get into it. I will say that if you guys are struggling, we have a couple new channels in Discord that I've opened up this last week where we talk about just like health and wellness and how to be happier, how to find more meaning, how to eat better, how to exercise, like whatever type of stuff you guys want to talk about. If you're interested in those discussions, then you can hop in my Discord, and we got a bunch of people in there who are like-minded, who are interested in taking better care of themselves, and who are interested in helping others as well. So if that sounds like a community that you want to be a part of, if you're having a hard time, that sounds like something that might help, then just hop in and talk with us.
So I will say I haven't watched your video yet, Marlon, even though I retweeted it, and I appreciated the opportunity to unawkwardly thank you and I'll use this platform for it too. Marlon has been an excellent friend for me through I don't think it's anything close to a state secret. If you don't know me, I just recently went through a really tough divorce, and I still struggle with it. And I had a couple of really bad nights, and messaged a couple people looking for some help, and just a ear to listen to, and Moreland really came through at least twice for me. And so I'm eternally thankful for you and your ability to be there for me. And I'm really thankful to have the opportunity to publicly thank you for that. So I'm going to get in that Discord and maybe air some of my shit out. But I've been working on drinking a little bit less because I've been using that as a crutch, and I don't think that's a big state secret either. So Fridays and Saturdays are my drinking days, and every other day is not drinking days anymore. And that's helping out a lot. This was my first week of that. And I look forward to playing video games and drinking like I have been for the past, 10 or 12 or 13 years of my life. But, it's a depressant, and we're going through shit. That's probably one of the last things you should do. So self-betterment is something that I've definitely been focused on through people taking their own lives. Weighs heavy on me. Doesn't matter really how much I know them. There was a member of the BDO community that did it a couple weeks ago, and then Rightful too. And it's hard. It's heavy. It strikes me, and it's really had an effect on me personally. Both of those people to take better care of myself and to be more outspoken and to normalize mental health and to normalize struggling with things. So I'm going to take that invite, Moreland, and I'm going to talk in those. I'm going to talk in those Discord chats and be open about what I struggle with and look for other people's inputs.
For people who don't know, that's Moreland TV's Discord.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. I've had good years and bad years. In my 20s, I had some incredibly bad years. I don't think I would have made it through those years if it wasn't for certain specific people in my life that I kind of encountered at the right time. So, like, this stuff is everywhere, especially among our community. Where in a large part, a lot of gamers are people who, stay inside all day and eat unhealthy food and have fucked up sleep schedules. And in some way, there's a predictable pattern that will emerge from that where your mental health is going to suffer. And, sometimes it doesn't have to do with those things. Sometimes there's stuff going on in your life, but whatever it is, like, we don't talk about it that often. And we have certain personas on stream, and some of that's authentic and some of it's for entertainment. But behind the scenes, it's important for us to know, or it's important for you guys to know, that we do care about you guys. I care about you guys. I get a lot of DMs. I respond to them as much as I can. And if there's any way that's us talking about it can help you guys out, then, these are communities. It's not just a one-sided thing. I'm not just here to talk at you guys all day. It goes both ways. So, make some friends and talk about what's going on in your life.
Absolutely. Tim, was
you got
it
nothing to
thing?
say on this potion? You got nothing to say on this, man?
I am a very unemotional person, and it's hard for me. I realize it's extremely important and it's a very complicated and sensitive topic, and so I tend to not talk about it because I don't know what to say. And I think that's the best way for me to handle it. And if someone needs me to talk to them, I will definitely listen. But and I'll be empathetic and understanding as to the best of my ability. It's just something that I struggled with, and it's sort of like if you never had a Coke, you can't explain to somebody what it tastes like. And for me, that's how it sort of is. So I try to do my best to be understanding and relate to people on this type of conversation topic, but it's hard for me to have a deep understanding of it. And so because of that, I try to tread lightly and let other people who do know talk.
That's an answer. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. You were going to say something else. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. So I was wondering if that was the same thing that you were going to close on, and if not, then what was that?
No, it wasn't. I was wondering if you guys wanted to talk about the dynamic of the podcast during the podcast a little bit. We're down one person. Can we do maybe a little bit of how we feel about it, or do you want to talk about it, offline?
Feedback.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think let's do it. I'm not sure what you guys are looking for, but I'm down for it.
So, I mean, we're short one person. I think we had a very successful podcast. It felt like something's missing, but just because something's missing doesn't necessarily mean we need to add, right? The idea of this podcast wasn't necessarily 4 people doing this thing.
Right.
Joe added a very interesting dynamic, but I think all of us probably had a little apprehension going into this on what it was going to look like. And I think this was successful. I don't know if we need a fourth person, but there's probably some pretty decent candidates out there to shake things up and have a different perspective on a consistent basis.
So my thing was I was worried that we weren't going to be able to fill up the air well enough with complicated and diverse ideas, right? I think Joe definitely brought a lot of unique perspectives on things that is hard to match. And that was my biggest concern. And I think we did an okay job of that. And I think with three of us, it gives us more, I guess, talking space to have guests on.
What are you laughing at, Marlon?
Someone in my chat says get Shaky Bay in there.
I think speaking of Shaky Bay, I think like Shaky Bay and other people, it gives more room for guests, right? Because if we don't have to all take a turn, there's only three of us taking turns instead of four, so there's more room for guests to have time to speak as well on whatever they want to talk about, right?
So I got to talk a lot more this week. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I think guests would be good. Even if we only had a guest for like, a 30 or a 60-minute chunk and not necessarily the whole thing, or we could try bringing on guests for the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I think there's no one that really comes to mind off the top of my head that I'd like immediately would want to install as a permanent guest. Like I don't know who's even interested in it, but if we have people who are coming on 1 week at a time, and then there's 1 week where we have particularly good chemistry with someone, then we could discuss that and see about making them permanent. But yeah, I think probably the next step is, instead of looking for a replacement right away, it might just be to rotate it every week and get some new people in and out, and get some new perspectives.
Well, let me dox the Discord a little bit. Let's put a little more effort into what we're doing here. And let's maybe try to commit to a guest once a month. I don't want to do it more often than that, personally. I don't know if you guys have a different opinion on that, but I'd like to start having a guest, and I'd like to bring him in for an hour. Right?
I think
we do our normal thing. We bring him in for the back hour so we can have their perception on what we talked about. The BDO notes, maybe a little bit, and then other games, and then whatever they've got going on. So maybe the guest podcasts are 2.5 to 3 hours instead of 2 to 2.5 hours. And so we do our thing for the first hour, bring them into a call. Hopefully they have a webcam. If they don't, that's okay. They could just be a voice. But I think we should commit to trying to do it at least once a month. And if we roll through 10 people and then we just want to take a break from it, after a year or something, then that's fine. But I think we should do it once a month. And I think we should challenge. We all are very different content creators and have very different personalities. And I'm probably speaking to myself more than anybody else. If there's somebody that I don't like or get along with or whatever the case is, I'm open to having anybody on here, right? Nerelio can be first. I don't give a shit. It'll be fun. It's content. That's the whole point of this. Nobody has done anything as a content creator that has like been a personal attack to me. So bring him on.
So
let's have some fun. Let's have some content, right? I mean, that's what this whole thing's about. BDO is a lazy fucking directory. And that's what Joe has really taught me in our personal conversations, in the plans that we had, and why I'm a little distraught about his departure is this directory deserves more. And so if I'm going to get sensitive about who comes on this podcast to voice their opinion and personal perception, then I don't deserve to be a part of it. So let's bring anybody on here that wants to be on here, and let's ask hard questions and have real conversation and have a fucking podcast.
Yeah, I think as a guest, I think anybody goes as a guest. I'm totally down with that.
Just got to figure out who's first.
Yeah, I think we should have.
If people are interested in being guests, how should they get in touch with us?
We should have one person designated for that. I think Tim.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I was gonna volunteer you. I'm glad you're passionate about it.
I'll do it. I know. I don't have a guild to run anymore. I'm used to doing shit. So if you guys are interested in being what I just described, being a guest on this podcast, reach out to me directly. It's Tim Allen, capital T, capital A, #1337 on Discord, or discord.gg/TimAllen1337. Reach out to me. Most of you, if you're a content creator or somebody that's worth being a guest on here, should have contact with me. So just reach out to me. We'll talk about it, and we'll hash out.
Vanity Discord tag?
I'm a Discord partner.
You
You
could
do
change your
too.
number? I didn't know you could change your number.
Yeah, that comes with being the Nitro. You get free Nitro.
Oh, no one never told me that. I have the Vanity server tag, but I didn't know I could change my number.
I'm not a Discord partner. It feels bad.
Why'd you shave your beard?
I don't know. I thought it made me look too old. I already look old enough.
Yeah, you had the gray going. I liked it. It looked good, man.
I think so too. I
Bro,
saw
I'm trying to
that.
find a wife. I need to look young and fresh.
Oh, beards are in right now.
Yeah, you should probably not play video games for a living.
No, that's what.
Good point.
Well, they like that, right? Because then the man never leaves. Don't have to worry. The wife doesn't have to worry about it. It's very very stable. Yeah.
Potion. I'm gonna. No, it doesn't work out too well.
Yeah, considering streaming kind of destroyed my last relationship. I'm not sure. That theoretically sounds nice, but
Hey, me too. But you know what? You do that, Potion. Good luck with you, man.
I'm all up here. I don't have relationships, so I'm just making up as I go. It is what it is.
One of my favorite parts of this podcast is getting to know you better, Potion. It really is.
Well, Tim, the outro.
Are we done? Are we good?
Hey, I'm not taking it from you. I said I was going to take it from you.
All right, boys. That's Nerds and Words episode 8, right? This was episode 8.
I think
Thank
so.
you guys for listening. We do miss Joe. We wish him the best. We're giving him his 2 weeks for his training for his new job. He could be back. I don't think any of us are really planning on that. So best wishes to him. Reach out to his social media. Joe Never Fails on Instagram and Twitter. I don't think we'll see him much on his Twitch, but if you haven't followed his Twitch, go ahead and follow him on his Twitch. He might do some IRL streams, all that kind of stuff. So I want to give a really big shout out to Joe because this really was his idea, even though he's never really said that out loud. It really was. We worked it out together, and then we found a couple of people to do it together, and it created this amazing thing. And I wish he was here to continue doing this, but God damn it, this better be good, Joe. So I'm Tim Allen 1337. Please join my Discord. It's becoming way more active. My streams are very chill. I'm trying to take over a little bit of the morning time here as my lifestyle has changed. So please come watch me grind a bunch of stuff, ask me questions. Been playing 4.5 years. I also get toxic and yell. So follow me on Twitch. And then we'll be getting into some YouTube content at Tim Allen 1337 on YouTube as well. Potion Shop, what do you got going on? Where can people find you? And yeah.
So most of my content's on YouTube right now. We come out with a video on the new Hashashin Class. It'll be a ability overview. So if you're looking forward to having a little preview, you can check that out on my YouTube. It'll be up there in a couple days. On Twitch, I'm mainly streaming Destiny, and I'll be streaming Destiny until the Hashashin is announced for NA and EU, at which point I'll probably come back and start grinding for some of the gear that I need for it.
Nice.
And that's basically what I have going on. You can catch me on Twitch and YouTube.
Morlin, what do you got going on? Please plug your last YouTube video too.
Yeah, the last YouTube video is basically just my experiences with depression and nihilism. Had quite a ride, and I feel like I learned a lot. So I basically just made a video sharing the lessons that I've learned. And I think there's some pretty good ones in there. So you guys can check that out on my YouTube channel at Moreland TV. I'm Moreland TV on Twitch. We'll be streaming some BDO. We'll be streaming some other games, some old school stuff, some more Orc RP will be happening. I don't know. That's all I got.
Cool. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Nerds and Words on Spotify, on YouTube, and live on Twitch at Moreland Potion Shop, both TV, and Tim Allen 1337 on Twitch. That is noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch you guys next time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Cheers.